An estimated 10 million Americans struggled with PTSD this past year, many of them veterans. Seth Doane looks into a new treatment promising to bring relief to those grappling with post-traumatic stress.
I woke up every night, around 3 o'clock, screaming and sweating and shaking.
Idit Negrin would try anything to beat the trauma haunting her since attending the Nova Music Festival on October 7th, when Hamas massacred hundreds of civilians.
We saw the terrorists and they started shooting at us.
And what were you doing?
Running for our lives. I think after a day or 2 days after, I felt that I'm falling down.
What do you mean, falling down?
Crying. Sorry.
We met her this summer as she was 2/3 of the way through her 60-session course of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. It's a treatment long used to combat compression sickness in divers and wounds that will not heal. But at this hospital in Israel, they're now also treating a very different malady, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
You feel like you're going crazy. You call people and scream, there is a terror attack again.
But nothing was really happening.
No.
You were imagining it.
Yeah. And then you understand that you have no control on your brain.
Negrin is trying to regain that control along with about 650 other October 7th survivors suffering from PTSD who are being treated for free alongside military veterans at the Segal Center for Hyperbaric Medicine and Research.
This is currently the largest hyperbaric center worldwide.
Dr. Shai Efrati runs this clinic where they're treating up to 350 patients a day and are on the forefront of this sort of medicine.
What we are doing is actually tricking the body. Hypoxia, lack of oxygen, is the most powerful trigger to induce all the repair mechanism cascade.
Dr. Efrati says they're inducing repair mechanisms in the body and brain inside these pressurized chambers, where it feels like you're scuba diving down to 30 feet. Patients breathe in pure oxygen, which under such high-pressure conditions, the body can absorb at up to 16 times the normal level. Then masks are removed for 5-minute intervals.
The decline from very high back to the normal is being interpreted at the cellular level as hypoxia, as lack of oxygen.
And what does that cause the body to do?
And that causes the body to trigger the stem cells. And for the first time, even in humans, we can see generation of new neurons, generation of new blood vessels in the brain. And this is mind-blowing.
The words I keep reading referring to this treatment, it is unapproved and not proven.
When we speak about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, this is how it should look like.
You say there are a lot of frauds out there.
Indeed. And this is not only not good, it can be even dangerous in order to achieve.
Dr. Efrati is constantly experimenting with new ways to use this treatment.
This is an elite athlete.
At his Tel Aviv clinic, we got to see how they're catering hyperbaric medicine to athletes.
If we can shorten the recovery period, you can push harder during the exercise.
And helping patients with brain injuries regain movement through the growth of new neurons and blood vessels in the brain.
You couldn't run before at all?
It's not that we are fixing his running, we are fixing the brain.
They've published several studies looking at PTSD in veterans. One out today found that 68% of patients showed significant improvement. Another reported that PTSD remission lasted at least 2 years, which is higher than other established treatments.
We want to evaluate everything objectively.
It's conclusive enough for the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, to ask Dr. Efrati's team to stop testing and start treating.
You can always say, I need more data. You see the evidence in front of you.
Shahar Mizrahi was one of those IDF veterans referred in 2018 for the initial clinical trial.
You tried drugs, you tried therapy, sleeping pills.
I tried a lot of things and nothing really helped to get back to life. And I heard that this might be helped and maybe this is my last chance before I finish my life.
You're talking about suicide.
Yeah.
Mizrahi was a soldier during a 2014 Israeli offensive in Gaza. It was in an armored vehicle when it was ambushed. In the short term, he was thinking about survival. The suffering came later.
I can't sleep in the night. In the moment I put the uniform, I feel like I want to die. I smell blood, I smell war.
So let's talk about Shahar.
Dr. Karen Donyas Barak followed Shahar Mizrahi through his 60 sessions. She heads the PTSD program at the Sogol Center.
This is Shahar's brain.
And showed us his brain scans from June 2018 and March 2019.
This is when he's suffering from PTSD. These are all of the things you want lighting up to be able to regulate emotion, process.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening before the treatment.
Yes.
You can see it.
You can see it. Many people tend to look at PTSD as a psychological phenomenon, not as a biological phenomenon. So we treat PTSD very similar to other brain conditions.
It's changed everything. It's the first time that I was feeling again. I beginning to sleep in night. I was less afraid. It's making me feel alive again.
It sounds like a total change.
I was dying man, and after this, I'm a living man. So
if it's being offered in Israel and they're getting such good results, why the hell are we not offering it in the United States?
That's a question North Carolina Republican Congressman and medical doctor Greg Murphy is raising in the halls of Congress. 1 in 10 of his constituents is a veteran.
Look, I love our VA. I'm on Veterans Affairs, but we're not reaching a certain segment of our veterans if we're having 22 commit suicide every day. And if we're doing something and there is a treatment that has shown definitive results, I believe it's medical malpractice not to offer that to our veterans.
In 2023, he introduced the Veterans National Traumatic Injury Treatment Act.
We just basically want the VA to do a pilot study within their own confines to see whether they show that hyperbaric oxygen works or not.
And you're hearing from the VA?
They just don't want to do anything. It's just hands up.
Because?
The reasons that we've heard is, well, the results are mixed. Fine. Look at the results in the last 15 years. Look at the studies in Israel. We are seeing an absolute effect in this. And other disorders for Parkinson's, migraines, some even MS, neurological disorders.
We requested an interview with the Department of Veterans Affairs, but they declined to comment.
The bureaucracy is daunting.
In Salt Lake City, Utah, we met Dr. Lynn Weaver, who runs hyperbaric medicine at Intermountain Health. They treat about 20 patients a day, which puts into perspective the huge numbers, 350 daily in Israel.
Do you treat patients with PTSD in these hyperbaric chambers?
Rarely, because this is expensive.
Do you believe it can be done?
Yes, I mean, I've had patients that I've treated, every one got surprisingly better.
But insurance companies say there's not enough proof it works for PTSD. And in the U.S., out-of-pocket costs soar above $50,000.
What's necessary is like a drug trial, but these trials take years to accomplish. It all rests with, is there an initiative and is there a funding source?
But if doctors like you feel so strongly that this works, why isn't there enough push from folks coming like you to say,
well, believe me, we've tried. I've submitted proposals to extramural funding agencies. So far, they haven't accepted them.
You are out on the frontier here of medicine. Is there a danger in that?
As a scientist, I will always tell you, I need more study, I need more data. But as a physician, when I'm sitting in front of you, looking at your eyes, you have a problem now. This is our job as a physician.
What are you hoping to get from this therapy?
To move on with my life.
Edith Negrin says this treatment is giving her hope she can move past that nightmare at the Nova Music Festival.
It's interesting that you wear this Nova necklace while you're getting this treatment.
I don't get her off my neck.
Her progress is motivation for Dr. Efrati to keep innovating, thinking about the future, so his patients can process the past.
Some people are going to listen to this and say it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, I know, but it's facts.